Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste. Welcome to a new episode in the series of Saints of India, podcast number 10. The contents of this episode of the podcast has been collated from the information that is available in the following portals on the day of publication of this podcast: Wikipedia.com, Britannica.com, usigma.com, IndiaTheDestiny.com, DollsOfIndia.com, PickingTree.in, DLSHQ.org, and madhvabrahmanas.blogspot.com. Any addition or deletion may graciously be pardoned. Adi Shankaracharya taught to the world Advaita. Sri Ramanujar gave Vishishta Dvaita Vedanta, and Madhvacharya gave to this world his concept called Dvaita Vedanta. Shankaracharya advocated Advaita or non-dualism. Madhvacharya advocated dualism. Thanks for joining the soul in learning in a nutshell the life and works of Madhvacharya. There are various schools of thought on the birth of Sri Madhvacharya. There are conflicting dates about the date of avatar of Madhvacharya. While some say his life spanned between 1238 CE to 1317 CE, others claim the period to be between 1199 CE and 1278 CE. In the heartland of Tulunad, in a village named Pajaka near Udupi, there lived a Vaishnavite Brahmin couple named Nadantilaya and Vedavati. God-fearing and very ritualistic were they. During the period under mention, the couple were blessed with a baby boy. The parents were happy. He was named Vasudeva by the parents. The child Vasudeva started growing. How does one describe the divinity in the child? When Vasudeva was just 3 years of age, his father started teaching him the alphabets. After a lesson was taught, the next day, when his father repeated it, young Vasudeva asked his father why he had to repeat which was taught the previous day. His grasping and comprehending power was immaculate. Seeing his son's capability, Nadatilaya was happy. Once it so happened that Vasudeva was taken to Nidiyur to attend to a function. During the celebrations, the child slipped from the sight of the parents, which they realized later. Frantic efforts were made to trace the child Vasudeva. The parents went from place to place, inquiring if anyone found a child, giving his description. Some people said that they saw a young child crossing the fields. The parents, searching everywhere, came to Udupi and came to the temple frequented by them, Anantheshwara temple. Much to their relief, they found the child there, standing in front of the Shivalinga and praying with folded hands. The couple had been worshipping Lord Anantheshwara for years. When the parents inquired with the child on how he reached this temple, in his own sweet language, he detailed how he went to Kodavur, where he had darshan of Shankaranarayana, and to Bananje, where he had darshan of Mahalingeshwara before reaching Udupi. The family members were stunned. As years rolled by, when Vasudeva was 5 years of age, he accompanied his mother to a nearby village, Nayampalli. Discourses used to happen every day during those days, unlike the current period. People used to attend those discourses, which imparted besides spiritual knowledge, morality, and lessons to be learned from the scriptures and Vedas. A well-known Puranic of those days, Maditaye Shivabhatta, was delivering a discourse which Vasudeva attended with his mother. At one point of time, Vasudeva stood up and offering his namaskarams to the Puranic said, "Sir, the text in the Purana gives a different meaning and what you are saying is something else. People who had gathered there were annoyed at the child's behavior and asked him to repeat the lines and detail what he thinks is the correct one. When young Vasudeva recited those lines and gave the meaning, the entire congregation found that what the kid is telling is right. As per the Hindu tradition, at the age of 7, Nadillaya performed the Upanayanam according to the customs. He then sent his son to a guru for studying the Vedas and other related studies. His guru was Totantilaya, a well-respected scholar of that period. From the beginning, the guru felt that his Shishya is no ordinary person. He closely watched him and found that only during classes Vasudeva came and the rest of the time he was found playing. As we would see later in this episode, that Vasudeva was pretty strong in all the games he played, be it wrestling, running or swimming. He always stood first. He would also challenge his seniors and win over them. He displayed humility at all times despite he being victorious in the challenges he met or made. The Guru Totantilaya wasn't approving of this conduct of Vasudeva. He always felt that the disciple isn't studying what he is supposed to be doing in his Gurukula. One day, he told young Vasudeva, "You think you have learnt and mastered the knowledge you are supposed to have? You have learnt all those things without going through the proper reading? Let me hear you recite the Suktas." With all humility, Vasudeva sat in front of his Guru and in a voice that reverberated like the bell of a temple, with clear diction and in the Shruti that should be followed, without committing a mistake, recited the Suktas and then prostrated at the feet of the Guru. The Guru had nothing to test further, though his studies continued with his interest in sports. When Vasudeva's parents were thinking about getting him bound by Grihastha at the age of 11, Vasudeva decided to become a sannyasin, discarding material life. He went the length and breadth of Bharat, assuming that entire Bharat is his home. He was initiated by Achyuta Prajna and was given the name Purna Prajna in the monastic life. Within a short span of time, the brilliance of Purna Prajna was known once again to the world. Vasudeva Pandita, an exponent in logical debates called Tarka, came to Udupi and was blowing his trumpets, challenging the people to come forward and conquer him and others in debates. Having known the prowess of Vasudeva Pandit and the likes, none came forward to take up the challenge. Vasudeva Pandit had won all challenges across Bharatadesham, whoever dared to challenge them. This was the reason for people not coming forward to challenge. When this news reached Purna Prajna, he didn't wait for a moment and took the challenge in all earnestness. At the end of the debate, which was witnessed by his monastic guru Achyuta Prajna, Vasudeva Pandit and the rest conceded defeat at the hands of Purna Prajna. Realizing the knowledge of his disciple, Achyuta Prajna installed Purna Prajna as a successor of the monastery and stepped aside. While installing him as the head, the Guru also gave him the title as Ananda Tirtha. Close on heels of this incident, a Buddhist scholar who was accompanied by another scholar by name Vadisimha had won laurels across our Bharatadesham for his philosophical debates. Vadisimha was earlier a follower of Vedic religion but had converted to Buddhism after being defeated by Buddhisagara in a philosophical debate. Both were defeated much to the joy of Purna Prajna's guru, Achyuta Prajna. He was happy on two counts. One, that he found a suitable person to lead the monastery, and two, the title which he gave him as Anandatirtha was befitting his disciple. Post his ascension as the head of the monastery, Purna Prajna, more lovingly addressed as the Madhava, left Udupi on a pilgrimage of South and Northern India. He visited many shrines which included Thiruvananthapuram, Kanyakumari, Rameshwaram and Srirangam in South. In all the places visited by him, he preached his philosophy of Tattvavada or religious truth. This triggered heated arguments amongst the learned scholars of his time. Madhvacharya's philosophy was that one should not mix spirituality with superstition, which was the order of those days. The orthodox people, who were not ready to buy in this concept, raised against him. But the Acharya was not to be disturbed at all. The Acharya's determination was to spread that superstitions in the way of philosophical truth should be wiped out. To initiate the first step towards this goal, he started writing commentary on Bhagavad Gita no sooner he returned to Udupi. The four dhams have always been a beckoning force of the spiritual gurus. Adi Shankara, Sri Ramanujar have been to Kedarnath. Madhvacharya was no exception to this quest. He was beckoned by Badrinath, and the thirst of being there at the hermitage of Vyasa made him step out of Udupi and proceed towards Badri. He wanted to present his Bhashya on Gita as a tribute to sage Vedavyasa. On reaching Vyasabadri alone, he bathed in the holy Ganges every day and observed 48 days of Mauna Vrat. It would be surprising to note that none of the works of Madhvacharya was written by him. Please do not get me wrong. When he said, narrated or dictated, his disciples wrote them. A disciple of the Acharya by name Satyatirtha wrote the Acharya's work on palm leaves. The lamp on top of the temple tower will be seen by everyone. So was Madhvacharya's work. His fame spread across the Bharatadesham. Learned scholars were surprised at the genius in the Acharya. The strength of his disciples started growing by leaps and bounds, while his fame was compounded daily. Shobana Bhatta, a well-known scholar, happened to accost the Acharya when he was on his way back from Badrinath on the banks of river Godavari. The presence of the Acharya, his discourses, brought in a change in Shobana Bhatta that he decided to become the disciple of Madhvacharya. Thereafter, he joined the entourage. Such was the power of the Acharya. After reaching Udupi, Madhvacharya wrote commentaries on the Upanishads. He wrote his Bhashya on all the 10 Upanishads. He created devotional songs which can be sung by his disciples when going places with him. Many devotional songs which we sing today in praise of Lord Krishna were composed by him during his stay in Udupi. During this period only, Madhvacharya installed the idol of Lord Krishna in Udupi. According to legend, a ship laden with Gopi Chandana was kept with other cargo which left the shores of Dwaraka towards its southbound journey. When the ship reached Malpe, close to Udupi, was stuck in storm. The ship hit a boulder, broke and sank off the coast of Malpe. One day, the Acharya got up suddenly from his meditation and left for the beach of Malpe. He got the local people to fish in the waters, and ahoy, they brought the idol of Sri Krishna from the seabed. The Acharya installed this idol in his mutt in Udupi and worshipped it for several years before his second sojourn towards Badrinath. He also anointed some of his disciples to carry on the daily puja to Lord Krishna. After this, he left once again on his yatra to Badrinath. On way to Badri, he had to cross the holy Ganges. The other bank of the Ganges was under the control of a Muslim ruler. Minding nothing, Madhavacharya started swimming across the Ganges and was accosted by the Muslim soldiers as he got out of the river. The ruler was surprised how a Hindu monk, despite being warned by his soldiers before crossing the river, could swim across it and then stand in front of him. He was then produced in front of the ruler of that place. Madhavacharya, without any inhibition, spoke to the ruler that the God who the Acharya was praying to and the God whom the ruler was praying to is a universal Father, and hence they are the children of the only God. Then why should one be afraid of the soldiers or the king? Hearing this, the ruler of the place, despite being a Muslim, requested the Acharya to stay in his kingdom and bless it. But the goal of our Acharya was different. He rejected the offer from the king and proceeded to Badri. As he proceeded to Badri, a group of bandits attacked the entourage of Madhavacharya. The Acharya's disciple, Upendra Tirtha, was asked to silence them. A fierce fight had ensued, and with the blessings of the Guru, Upendra Tirtha overcame the challenge and made the bandits disappear. The Acharya always insisted that a sound mind in a sound body is very much required. Accordingly, he had made his disciples achieve strength in their body and in the mind as well. Reaching Badrinath, he again had darshan of the Lord and of the hermitage of sage Vyasa. While returning back to Udupi, en route, the Acharya went to Kashi, where he took the challenge of an aged ascetic named Amarendra Puri, whom he humbled in a debate. Then he went to Kurukshetra. There he asked a mount to be excavated, and to everyone's surprise, there lay a mace. The Acharya informed the people that the mace belonged to Bhima. He then ordered that the mace be buried again, and the mount was formed. The Acharya was good in music too. Before reaching Udupi, he visited villages in the current-day Goa. The people were gifted to hear the Acharya sing in his melodious voice. On returning to Udupi, the Acharya completed twice his tour across the length and breadth of Bharatadesha. His contribution to Hinduism is unfathomable. Madhavacharya founded the Dvaita school of Vedanta, and he called the philosophy as Tatavada. He was well versed with Brahma Sutras, Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita. His bhashya on these holy books were written in Sanskrit in 37 volumes. His followers and devotees believe that he is reincarnation of Vedavyasa. He established 24 mutts throughout India. All the monasteries followed the traditions and rituals set by Madhavacharya in Tantrasara. The saint Madhavacharya mingled with the Almighty in 1317 CE in Udupi. Hari Om. Hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast of mine. Should you desire to support this project of mine, you may contribute through patreon.com, the link for which is available in the description. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.